Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coast-to-Coast Combat Hour. I'm your host, Matthew Hawkins, and as always, I'm joined by my friend, co-host, and author, Ed Carbajal. Ed, pimping his book as usual. Check it out on Amazon. What's going on, my friend?
Nothing much, man. I mean, I know it's a week past the last pay-per-view, but there was one more Vegas event at the Apex under the ESPN banner, so it's kind of worked out all right. But outside of freezing my ass off here in Jersey, man, I'm excited to close out the year. I'm excited the ESPN's business with UFC is done. But before we even get into all of that, I know we got some Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua stuff to talk about. We kind of got to address the news that broke just before we started recording with Terrence Crawford announcing his retirement, 42-0.
Yeah, I'm just kind of reading up on it. I saw something earlier that kind of hinted at it, but I didn't really dive into it, so I wasn't sure if anything was official. But yeah, now that I'm looking into it, 38 years old, 42-0, coming off that win over Canelo. I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of don't mind if we get back to the days where now it's boxing, so odds are he's going to fight again at some point down the line. But in theory, I do like the idea of a 38-year-old boxer walking away and it not being for money, not being for anything else specific. Just I've done everything I can kind of do, and and after you beat Canelo, what is there to do?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of the other thing is I'm kind of like that. Surprises me. Oh, Antoine's reading my mind. He just mentioned Rainier DeRitter. Yeah, we'll talk about that in due time. But yeah, man. I mean, part of me makes me wonder, like if the WBC stripping the title has anything to do with why he kind of did this, because he said something. He said, it's like I'm not walking away. I'm winning another battle or something like that. I was trying to get his notes together just before we started recording. But if you go to his YouTube channel, he's got his kind of like his goodbye speech on there, and it's a very well done cut up piece. But it's just I'm wondering, and he thanked Turkey in it too, which makes me wonder if he's kind of saying, because of the WBC thing, I'm walking away. You guys can have your stuff. And then because of all the Saudi and the Turkey, is he going to jump into the TKO thing as their first big name to kind of catapult? You know what I mean? Like we're in a really weird time in combat sports, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was something going on there.
I hope not. I'm reading and glancing through it right now. It says, he does mention what you mentioned about fighting another battle. Mm-hmm. But as I go deeper into it, he says he spent his whole life chasing something, no belts, not money, not headlines, but that feeling you get when the world doubts you and you keep showing up and you keep proving everybody wrong. I'm wondering, he's kind of a quiet guy. You know what I mean? For a 38-year-old boxer who's been around a long time, he hasn't really been in the spotlight for anything. He doesn't, so I being a kind of an introvert person, maybe he just kind of found that in him, where he's been doubted himself and, always heard doubters, and maybe he just feels accomplished enough now where he can walk away and he feels fulfilled as a boxer. Hopefully that's the case. I mean, I'm being the optimistic one here, and I liking the idea of our older athletes, older in quotes, being 38 years old, walking away and having enough money and being confident enough to walk away and feel like they did enough, as opposed to kind of the trend that's begun now, and basically the trend to fighting for all time and eternity, where guys just never make enough money, so they fight until the wheels completely break off, and then it becomes an embarrassing sideshow. But do I see this to go to? I don't think the money's there for TKO. I can't imagine them wanting to drop the money that Crawford could make when we already know that their whole offense or their whole financial situation they want to run is like 10,000. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it would be weird for them to go, hey, here's $80 million or the 150 or 200 it would take. If Canelo's signing with Netflix for what was it, 150 or something, like 6, 7, 8 years ago now, I'm wondering what, Crawford would pull, for a couple year deal or, 4-fight deal. So it's got to be an incredible amount of money, but I do like the idea of guys walking away, and hopefully that's the case, and hopefully it's all for good reasons, and walk away undefeated, man. We talk about you forever. That's how it'll always be.
Yeah, and there's the flip side to that coin, though. When you think about it, quoting Michael Mann's Heat that celebrated their 30th anniversary yesterday, it's the flip side to that coin, and the flip side being kind of what Antoine's mentioning here about a lot of money being left on the table. You talk about guys that retire. Look at Khabib. How many times has Dana tried to rope him to come back? If he came back to do anything, they would probably throw all the money he ever wants at him. I'm wondering if that's part of what his thinking is too. I doubt it, because like you said, he doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. I don't know. And I mean, I know I'm speculating. I just feel like the stripping of the title because of paying fees and stuff like that probably made him say, like, man, I did all this. I'm 42-0, and you guys are gonna sweat me over some fee. Yeah,
I mean, you're on the right side of history here. And there's a good chance I wake up tomorrow morning and he's got a fight announced against somebody else under Turkey Sheik in Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? Like this is boxing. I get what I'm up against with my theories, but I'm also thinking he makes a lot more money. Compared to Khabib and stuff, the amount of money he made against Canelo alone is about more than the entire UFC roster, made in the 21st century. So I don't, I want to believe a dude can make hundreds of millions of dollars and it not be a financial issue. And again, we're not seeing him drive around in private jets. He's not the Mayweather Tyson out there. I'm sure he has a nice house. I'm sure he takes care of his family, but when I see Bud Crawford, I don't think about a guy driving around like a $500,000 car. That's not, I mean, maybe he is, but that's not the impression that I get when I've seen him. At least the impression that I got without diving too deep into his personal life and stuff over the years. I like the idea again of guys walking away, and it being a true retirement after a mega fight that, and it wasn't like he talked about it before the fight. I like that he had the fight. He's had a couple months to kind of revel in it, and now you come to a decision where it's just not there anymore. I don't need 6 months of him talking about how I don't really have the fire anymore, but I'm going to go out there one more time. We've seen that a million times, and usually that doesn't end in the right way. So so that's that. You did mention we had a UFC last week, but 2 weeks ago we had the pay-per-view. I was lucky enough to be out in Vegas for that. And I say lucky enough because it was actually an incredible night of fights. I really enjoyed it start to finish. The amount of finishes, the amount of knockouts. True, the disappointment in Pantoja's arm hinging the opposite way, and it being a when those things happen in the arenas, man. I don't know if you've ever been in an arena for a really gruesome looking injury, but the crowd reaction is.
I mean, you've even with my covering events, you've still been to more of those than I have, and I know you were there for the Weidman break, and now you were there for this, and you want to know what's funny, because I'm here in Jersey watching them from home, as I was telling my hazel-eyed beauty that was sitting watching the fights with me. Just before that happened, I was talking about how people, when they fall, posting out like that, even with a lot of training, because I see people putting out videos now how you should break fall, even if you're trained at break falling and stuff like that. But when you have the mixed combat coming at you like that, and you've been taken off balance, it's hard not to post out. It's hard not to even if you're trained and you know how to break fall, it's just in the chaos of combat, it's sometimes your body so reacts the way his did. Yeah,
it's natural. Your natural reaction for
the fact that happened after I had literally just mentioned, like, people, a lot of times people break I literally, like 4 fights before that, I had said that to the girl I was watching the fights with, and I was just like, my God, like the fact that it happened, I was just like, oh my God, like it's crazy. It's a screwed up way, and I don't know what that says for it made me think of Vitor Belfort, Randy Couture. like the titles exchange over. I mean, because it's kind of a technicality in a way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was at that
Mhm.
fight too. UFC 46, I believe. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. It's funny you say that because that was like as it happened, the first thing that went through my head was like, I want to say the Vitor one might have been like 19 seconds when he cut Randy Couture's eye, and this one I think was 26 seconds. So it actually was the first thing that went through my head. Sitting in the crowd was like, oh, the difference between that one is that was the main event. So that one kind of left you like feeling like, damn. And I won money on that fight. I actually won like $200 on Vitor on a stupid bet, in hindsight of how their two other fights had gone, or one had gone, and now the next one after that ended up going. So I walked out of there kind of with a smile on my face. 20 years ago, winning $200, was a nice take for a little hawk out there. But now, so this one though, like I was like, okay, first of all, it's gruesome. The other one was just a cut on the eyelid, which we've seen a dime a dozen now. This one was like, like I don't like to watch. That's the kind of stuff that kind of makes me nauseous a little bit. So I kind of turn away. But the crowd's reactions are just wild.
So like I guess from your vantage point, because we saw the angles, we saw the the elbow and the whole fucking discrepancy of whether it's shoulder, elbow. The fuck difference does it make? It was an injury. It was just an injury. Like it doesn't matter what it was. It was a freak injury. But from your vantage point, did it look as bad as like the images that were online?
Yeah, I mean it happened so quick during the fight. Like so during the fight, I'm watching it and like immediately like you don't see the injury in real time because it happens so quick.
Yeah.
And I'm not right next to it. So I'm not like watching his arm specifically. I'm watching the whole whole scene in front of me. But I've seen it enough times in fights where it's Pico dislocating his shoulder or something like that where you're like, something's not right. Immediately, like you're like, something's not right. Yeah. Because Van would be attacking him, and why would Pantoja's not just gonna lay there? Like something's really, really wrong. And then they show the replay, and then they show the replay, and 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 they show the replay again, and then Joe Rogan shows the replay like 3 more times. Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean it's hardcore. I mean I listen, I'm not a doctor, but it was clearly his elbow, and it came out that it was his elbow later. I know that that's irrelevant to an injury, but I see it with my eyes. His elbow bent the wrong direction. I don't need any other MMA journalist or fake doctor or UFC representative to tell me it was his shoulder. I see if I see a guy's finger bent back, you can't tell me it was his wrist. It's just not going to happen. Like I'm watching it. I see it. His elbow was bent the wrong direction. His shoulder might be fucked up too, but his elbow is definitely bent in the wrong direction. So that ended. Obviously, the crowd. We get to the main event, and everybody in the place. I don't think anybody in this planet didn't see or inspected kind of a drubbing by Davashvili. He's going to take him down. We're going to kind of get a 25-minute like snooze fest. The Rita was a little down because, especially, I mean, the Tara win over Moreno was spectacular. But it didn't. The crowd was, you had a lot of Moreno fans, so it's spectacular, but at the same time, you're kind of, at least me as a fan, especially, I'm kind of up in the air getting into that main event. And I'll tell you what, when Jan stuffed that first takedown, and then round later he's dropping Merab on top of his head and spiking him on the ground. It was genuinely one of the best MMA performances I've ever seen. And it reminded me of, I know I'll go back to Fedor and stuff, but it kind of reminded me of the Fedor of the GOAT Fedor, who would just beat everybody almost at their own game. He would be the one who would take somebody down, or he'd be the one to head kick Crow Cop. And I felt like Jan had one of those performances similar to like what it kind of, and it didn't end in the fashion that McGregor and Alvarez, but I felt the same kind of way about the performance. I felt like I was watching like a master class in MMA from a guy who's going up against a guy who really, your only way you can beat him is the defense of all gods, and then being aggressive and kind of not having the fear, and then taking him down a couple times. You know, I thought what Peter Yan did was one of the best performances that I've ever seen in person. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'm being overreacting to that, but I thought it was outstanding. I thought he put everything together for someone to get beat like he did in the first fight and then turn it around and basically correct every error that he had.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I thought that it really, you know, it really it kind of made the event for me.
Yeah, and he also kind of did a lot of body work too. That I was kind of like
you called
something that well, it was something that I feel like I always bring up the O'Malley fight when it seemed like O'Malley figured that out so late, and it looks like Jan did all that homework and it paid off for him there. So I honestly wouldn't mind seeing them go at it again. That I think that's one, when you think about fights that they could make big fights off of, like rivalries and stuff like that, that's definitely one they could take into the Paramount era of the UFC, which I'm hoping, fingers crossed, is going to be a lot better than the era we just left.
Now, I think they'll fight eventually. I hope it's not right now. I think the UFC should take the advantage of lightning kind of striking with the fluke to loss to Pantoja. You've just got two kind of dynamic strikers now, two new dynamic striker champions that can set up some really exciting fights, and fights that are going to sell based off the fact you're going to get you're not going to get a grind fest like that, and not that, again, Pantoja was starting to light the world on fire with some of his fights recently, but there was a time where he would kind of grind guys out, and that's a possibility when he fights. With Joshua Van and Peter Yan, I think you got two guys who are basically going to go out there and try to decapitate their opponents. So there's an opening for a whole bunch more contenders, the O'Malleys of the world, all these guys. It opens up the world again for a bunch of guys, and I might kind of try to do that a little bit. Let's get into the Paramount era. It'd be nice to have some really exciting main events. And again, I'm not trying to discredit wrestling or jiu-jitsu or anything like that, but the just bleed in me is like, I wouldn't mind a little era of some Anderson Silva shit again for a little while. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't mind seeing some dudes getting wrecked in some main events. 25-minute decisions are cute, but I don't mind seeing some guys that, either leave on their shield or make others leave on theirs. So I would kind of think about that in my matchmaking, and maybe if it were me, that's the thing. And I guess, kind of my wish for next year would be like, let's get some good matchups. I also don't mind some kind of squash matches on the prelims. If I'm being honest with you, if we're going to have 13, 14 fights in this case, I don't mind a few squashes in the early part of the night where you get to see some knockouts, you get to see some submissions. I mean, I say squash. We saw, his name slips my mind, but we saw Mackenzie Dern's boyfriend basically tap out to like a day one jiu-jitsu guillotine, So that's, not that that's the most spectacular stuff, but I don't mind building up some young kids with some kind of squash matches early on if it kind of means getting some highlights and kind of getting the night going. There's honestly nothing worse than when those early prelims are like drag on. That, for a long, you're one of those guys, Theo Vaughn, me, my crew that show up at 3:00 for the fights, like that.
Yeah,
we those drag on, that can make for a long night. So everything about this card I loved, honestly. Some of the guys I was rooting for didn't win, but I enjoyed it start to finish, and I was really happy that it was the last pay-per-view, and I got to be a part of that, and got to see a couple new champs. One didn't form the way I wanted it to, but you could see history. History's history.
Yeah, and then we got the last weekend's event, the last warehouse fight under the ESPN era. Had some really nice finishes there, some impressive fights. But it's funny because it's like these last few cards they backburnered so much so early on. Most of the time, they made it so hard not hard, but if they wanted your money so bad, they didn't start putting these prelims and stuff on FX until, like mid this last quarter, the end of this last quarter of the year. And the fact that they did that knowing that they weren't getting them back, it's like, it's like you could have done this the whole time, number one. You hinted at it the last time we recorded where they didn't treat the UFC like a priority. And even still, they did that with this last card where I turned it on. And there's fucking women's volleyball on when I even screenshot it and posted it on Twitter/X so people could be. I'm like, you know what? Farewell to you, fucking assholes. Like seriously. I know the Skydance Paramount deal came through because of there's some good old boys shit happening there, and as much as we try to talk shit like we don't like it, if they fucking prioritize them to make it simple to watch, where you actually give them some airtime and don't put it on some back end platform, don't treat it like the Zone. The ESPN was pretty much the Zone, like the way that the Zone treated Bellator. The ESPN, even though the UFC did bring in numbers for them, they're going to find out when these numbers exit, because I think Home of Fight posted they're looking at losing like 200,000 subscribers or something like that. And I'm like, you know what? Fucking let it. I hope they fucking feel it, because I never disliked. I mean, that's where we've bitched on this podcast for how long, because of the way the ESPN era kind of changed what we watch into this weird influencery fucking dickhead fucking type of coverage for the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to rag too much on it. So, like you said, thankfully it's coming to an end.
It's over,
hopefully, there's some new stuff.
Thank God.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just being on an app, even if I don't have to see it on anything else. If there's just an app I can click on, and it doesn't require me watching, all the extra. Anyways, I think we need to jump to the fight everybody is thinking about, talking about, the whole world's on fire about. Anderson Silva versus Tyron Woodley this weekend, or this Friday night. Oh, geez. Speaking about guys who it's sad that they have to fight, Anderson Silva, I had to look it up, is officially 50 years old. He will be boxing Tyron Woodley on the undercard of the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua boxing match, exhibition match, fight. Who knows exactly what we're going to get. 8 rounds.
Yeah.
Noticing that right now. So that's and when there's 8 rounds, that's usually the Jake Paul. That's the Jake Paul 8-round work right there. It seems like, in a sense, like why would that fight only be 8 rounds?
And they're doing the media tomorrow. I think tomorrow's the first press conference before everything, like the big one that they're going to do. So I think that'll be telling of, because when we talked about the matchup, we talked about the weight that they want Anthony Joshua to weigh, and where I'm just looking it up, 245 pounds. And Joshua's never come in lighter than 250. I think 253 might have been the latest. I'd have to look. I wrote something on Substack with the numbers on it. If you guys want to check out the link to the Substacks in the description if you're watching on YouTube. But we'll see if it matters. I don't think it does, because Joshua had just posted a video of him, rehydrating whatever as he's doing his weight cut. So we'll see. It's going to be, a lot of people have Netflix. So, and if you're home on a Friday night and Netflix is, and you're scrolling through the app, and you're gonna watch it. Like, that's what if I'm home on Friday, I'm probably watching it. So
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be excited to watch it. To me, there's nothing. It is what it is. Realistically, like if this is a real fight, Anthony Joshua is gonna flatline Jake Paul. Mm-hmm. And if a miracle happens and Jake Paul catches Anthony Joshua, it'll probably be the most epic day of my life, sports entertainment wise, because it'll be hilarious as can be. It will be pure hilarity to be able to go onto Twitter and see the whole meltdown if he knocks out Anthony Joshua. And the whole circus act. I don't even like Jake Paul, but the whole circus act of it all would be hilarious. And Antoine chiming in there about, that's what I said before. He's taking fights he doesn't have to take. I don't know if it puts his career on the line. Seems like he's got a big enough following. He did lose to Little Fury, Tommy Fury, and it didn't really seem to do much. I think honestly, like, he can if he's able to survive like 3 rounds, I think he can probably hold up his head high and nothing probably really comes of it, and he can fight another he can fight Tommy Fury again or something. I
Yeah.
don't. But I think he's putting his life on the line. I think you're putting your health on the line. I think
Yeah.
you're putting your brain cells on the line big time when you're fighting a monster like that. I mean, for what he did to Ngannou, a beast like Ngannou, you only, I mean, it all depends on how tough Jake. We're gonna find out how tough he is,
Yeah.
and how much. If he gets dropped and he's a little bit dazed, does he walk back out there to get murdered? Not, I don't want to say murder. That's not a good time right now. Does he walk out there just to get put out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
that's the thing, though. I mean, if everyone's expecting that to happen, that's what everyone's tuning in for. And if it does happen, though, I mean, not for nothing, you still kind of have to give Jake some respect because he's been kind of out there for a while as the problem child, bad guy, whatever. You know what I mean? It's always been, and then people could criticize him, and they've even got lawsuits for, the fixed fights and the thing with Tyson because of the age difference and stuff like that. But if that happens, and it happens like as we all expect it to, and that's why you tune in when it's over, once your adrenaline comes down, you got to give Jake a little bit of respect.
Oh, I give him mad respect. He's fighting one of the beasts of the heavyweight division of this era. Listen, man, if he can survive, he could lose 8 rounds to none. If he's able to hug his way for 8 rounds, it will be a victory I mean, it's moral victory for sure. Like there was no world or any thought process where anybody in this world would think that Jake Paul ever could beat Anthony Joshua. Now, the fact he's fighting him again, and I always think back to, man, I've seen Joshua like folded,
Yeah.
And as long as that's in your head, you keep going, man, what if he walks into one?
You're talking about the Ruiz fight, right?
Ruiz,
yeah.
He was put down by other guys though, and he got up off the mat. Wilder, maybe. I'm trying to think of the Usyk put him down. I mean, guys that put him down.
Yeah.
He's been put down, but yeah, I mean, the Ruiz one's the one where he was like, he was finished off, but you never,
yeah. The only reason why I kind of accentuate Ruiz is because in this what I wrote about in the Substack, when you're looking at where does Jake Paul have the edge, I mentioned the weight thing. The other thing I wrote about was he's been guilty of being overconfident and taking Ruiz lightly. I'm wondering if he can fall, if it's possible at all that he falls into the same trap.
And he's also kind of stoutish like Ruiz in a sense. You know what I mean? He's punching up at Joshua, so maybe that's something that Joshua is not great at. Maybe an Ngannou kind of standing more eye to eye with him is a little bit more, is more of a straight punch. Really reach into the stuff. We'll see. I mean, I'm certainly not picking Jake Paul to win. I'm picking Anthony Joshua to win the fight. But yeah, I'm watching, man. I'll be watching Anderson Silva fight.
There's actually some good
female fight. Yeah, female title fight.
Baumgardner, Baudouin, WBO, IBAF, WBA titles on the line. A couple WBC titles. As long as they pay their fees, they get to fight for them. It should be a good night of fights. It's 8 altogether. Our boy Sean Wheelock is actually going to be on the fucking laundry list of people that are involved. That's one thing I am worried about. If they're going to do this fucking bullshit where it's 100 conversations going on between boxing matches, this is boxing's problems, man. I mean, this is why people get fucking upset with boxing. You don't need all that shit. There's a reason why the UFC and MMA is kind of winning so many people over. That you fucking give us fights when we want them. So when I saw that list of talent, which is like a whole poster, it looked like the video game when you're picking a fighter. I'm like,
it looked like a fight poster with all the faces on it. Yeah. I mean, you're not looking forward to like a Houdini concert or friggin', like.
No, I'm not. I'll buy tickets to that if I want that. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit. Why don't they get it? I don't understand why they don't get that.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's always ridiculous. Hopefully that's that. You wonder. No, they don't ever sit around and are like, yeah, we don't need to have like a.
Social media says so much. You see so many comments after this shit, and they just go and do it again. And it's only boxing that really does it.
Yeah, nobody's ever asked for it.
Yeah.
Nobody was ever like, hey, I need like a C-rate concert right in the middle of my fights. I mean, Megadeth and Affliction was awesome. And
I forgot about that.
That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And something I will always remember. But that was like one song in between like the fights, like actually kind of cool. Like you want to have people perform in between the fights when I got a 20-minute downtime at a UFC event. You want to have friggin' somebody take the stage and do some songs, or I'm down. But like a 90-minute concert right before the walk-ins of some like Bad
and then
Bunny
and then let's do the national anthem, and then let's do it. So it's like, oh my god, bro! And let's see what Robert De Niro and fucking Will Ferrell think. Like, I don't care. Like,
I know, it's wild. It's wild to think that they never sit around and do that. Before we wrap, one other topic that I forgot to even mention to you, but we should definitely give props where they're due. The GOAT, Chris Cyborg, wins again by finish this weekend. Submission choke over Sarah Collins at PFL.
Yeah.
29-2. Only lost to Amanda Nunes in her very first fight of her career was her other loss. I'm sorry. Beat goes on. She's beating like her third generation of fighters now.
Yeah.
And she's gonna walk away. She's got her last fight coming up. It looks like it might be Leah McCourt.
Which I wouldn't mind that.
It's this last kind of generations fighter that she hasn't really fought. If it's not going to be a super fight against an up and comer, there's just nobody really that, unless one of the UFC people hop over, or she's able to go to the UFC, which is not going to happen. That's who it's going to be, and I'm good with it. If she gets that 30th win, I mean, there's not enough good things I could say about Cyborg. She had her down moment there 16 years ago, whatever it is now. But for the most part, that woman has been all class and a dominant champion and one of the top 5 all-time exciting fighters to watch in the history of the sport. I mean, you put pen to paper comparing her fights to everybody else. I mean, for violence, for just finishes, and just ferocity. I mean, I gotta put her there. So, massive, great career, and I look forward to her last fight. Just a legend, true legend of the sport. Sad that she doesn't get to do it on a bigger platform.
That's what I was just gonna say. I mean, you would think she'd get a bit bigger and better platform. I mean, having her, the one that the PFL and again, I'm not really gonna because it looks like John Martin's kind of like trying to make things happen better in the PFL, but again, that they're still in bed with ESPN, and the ESPN buried that fight behind the app that they're trying to get new subscribers to, their new app that they're trying to get new subscribers to, and because of all that bullshit, Matt actually wrote I think you were there for Karate, right? You wrote that piece on Cyborg.
Yeah, I was there. I have a good piece on it online. You're verified, Antoine, so I can't private message you with my 25 followers. I was there. I actually wrote a really good article about it when I was doing some writing years back now. I was there in person. I was actually cage side. I think it was like third row. One of the most electrifying experiences ever, honestly. The crowd was one of the most electric crowds to this day that I've ever been a part of. And Corona was so over with the fans at the time that she was so beloved that it was just, it was literally, David versus Goliath, almost in a sense, obviously with Goliath in that sense winning the fight, but you felt like everybody kind of felt like they were on Cyborg or on Carano's shoulders trying to will her through that fight, and it was quite an experience. And I've had the opportunity to meet both of them multiple times, and it's been fun to chat about that fight with both of them. So legendary fight, and an underrated fight when it comes to just a round of just chaos.
Yeah, no, I remember exactly where I was for that fight. I'm actually looking for your posts. I'm going to post it right underneath the link of this. So if you're following on Twitter, Antoine, I'm putting Matt's.
Yeah, and for those listening, if you Google a view from the Hawk's Nest, Carano versus Cyborg, that would be what it was. Would have been the title of it. So
yeah,
probably can find. I know there's a Direct Leak on Blogboard as well.
Yeah, I'm putting that up right now. I'm going to put it underneath this stream. That way, folks that are watching can. I'm posting it right now for folks to check it out.
I think we'll end it there. Look forward to the boxing this Friday night, and then New Year's, and then we got some downtime for a couple weeks. So fans until then can follow the show at Combat Hour on Twitter, Coast to Coast Combat Hour on Instagram. Thanks for the follow, Antoine. Follow me, Matt Hawkins, at Fight Fan Hawk on Twitter, MMA Hawk 21 on Instagram. Follow Ed at Carbazol on Twitter, Carbeerzol on Instagram, Old Head Carb on Twitch. And remember to look up his book on Amazon. Support Ed Carbajal, the author. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
We got one more before the end of the year. We're going to do that Rising. We got to look at that Rising card. It's looking good.
There it is. See you guys next week.